Okay, I have a little change of pace video for today. Instead of being in the outdoors chasing whitetail deer, I'm going to be in the kitchen and I'm going to be cooking some whitetail deer. I'm actually going to be preparing some venison sushi, and I want to show you guys how I do this. This is something I've never seen done before, but I absolutely love it. I came up with this. I love raw meat. I love sushi. I put the combination together with venison, which I absolutely love, and I came up with what I think is the ultimate sushi, the venison sushi. In the next few minutes, I'm going to run you guys through the way that I make this, and I'm going to run you guys through some of the considerations you might want to take before you make or serve the sushi. So stick with me, let me show you guys how I do this, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, let's get started. First off, let me show you guys, this is a piece of backstrap, and that is the only cut that I use to make my sushi. It seems to just melt when you're chewing on it. It is absolutely awesome, and from all you guys that know that have cooked this over the years, it's just a great cut of meat. You're going to want to take into consideration, this is one of the first considerations I told you might want to take, is do you butcher your own meat? If you don't, you want to make sure, if you're going to make sushi out of it, that you trust the person who is butchering that meat, that is doing a sanitary job and not contaminating this meat. So I butcher my own meat. I'm very clean in the way that I do it, so I know that this is going to cut down any chance of any kind of contamination on this meat. Number two, after you butcher your deer, you're going to want to freeze it for at least 30 days to help kill any bacteria that may be present. So make sure it's a sanitary butchering job, and make sure that you freeze it to kill any bacteria. Let's get started. I will take the meat out of the package. I will take a paper towel, and I'll go ahead and pat dry the meat. Once I got that meat pat dried, I'm going to put it on the cutting board. I'm going to take just a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to rub it on that meat. Because what we're going to do is we are going to sear just the outside edges of that meat. And that's another thing you want to consider, because that's going to kill any bacteria that would be present on the outside of that meat. So we have just a very light amount of olive oil on there. Very, very light. Dry your fingers off. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of pepper on there. And you may have different seasonings that you prefer. You may not want to season at all, but I season with pepper, salt. You know, everybody has their own likings and the amount of seasoning they want to use. And then what I have over here is powdered wasabi, and to me that really kicks it off. I love the flavor of wasabi, and I'm gonna get that all around the meat. And then after we have that done, we're going to go over to the frying pan, and we're going to go to the next step. Okay, I'm now over at the frying pan. You guys can see I don't have anything in this frying pan, and here's our venison. Now keep in mind, you just want to sear this. You do not want to cook this venison. You just want to get maybe a 1/16 of an inch around this outer edge cook. So I'm just going to use my hands, and I'm just going to move this venison around in this pan, making sure my fingers don't touch the pan and get burnt. And making sure I don't cook this meat. I just want to sear it, and the reason I'm doing that is to kill any bacteria that may be present on the outside of this meat. So let me get started. And this pan is extremely hot. You'll see the smoke coming out of it. And all I'm doing is searing this. As quick as this meat can touch the pan. And that's it. Okay, now that we have it seared, I'm over to the fresh cutting board, a clean cutting board, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting this to prepare it for, it's just going to be laid right over top of the rice like you see the traditional sushi. So I cut the first piece, and that one always goes straight in the belly, which is absolutely awesome. And then depending on how thick you like to cut it, most people cut it pretty thin. That's about the right thickness for me. I'm just going to start making my cuts. Okay, there's 8, and then another end piece, and you guys probably guessed it, that one goes straight in the belly. And I have enough right here for 8 pieces of sushi. Okay, so earlier today I prepared my rice. It's been sitting in the refrigerator, it's nice and cold, and I have a bowl of water right here to dip my fingers in, and that water, that moisture is going to keep the rice from sticking to your fingers in your hand. I'm going to prepare one piece of rice that we're going to lay the meat over. I have the rest of them already on the plate ready to go, and I just want to show you guys how I do this. One thing to take into consideration is the rice that you use. You want it to be short grain rice. This rice is just a little bit too long grain. It's going to work, but good sushi rice is usually a short grain rice. So I'm going to go ahead and moisten my fingers. I'm going to reach into my rice, and you guys will definitely figure it out pretty quick on how much rice to grab for each piece, depending on what size piece of sushi you want. And you're just going to put a little bit of pressure, and I'm pushing in with my fingers, and I'm forming it, and that right there, that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to put this over on the plate. I'm going to get the meat over here, and I'm going to lay it out and show you guys what it looks like, and I'm going to enjoy the sushi. Okay, I have my rice laid out. Here's the meat that I just prepared. I'm just going to lay it over top of that rice gently. A couple extra pieces, and as you guys can see, that is beautiful looking sushi. Let me zoom in on it. I mean, I don't know if it gets any better looking than that. And I'm going to be the lucky guy that's going to get to eat this today, so let me zoom out. I have a little bit of wasabi with my soy sauce. Pick up a piece, dip it a tad, and enjoy. Now that is good. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Like I said, I'm not an expert at making sushi, but I am an expert at eating deer venison sushi. Everybody take care, best of luck in the outdoors, and thanks for watching the video.